interesting story came out with actor Idris Elba in regards to his fanfare, or the fanfare of him being James Bond one day. Now, this started up years and years ago. It was like really a truly fan driven narrative, like casting call sent out to Hollywood. Like, yo, we want Idris Elba to play James Bond. He fits the part. He's suave. He's strong. He's charming. He's this. He's that. I mean, the guy fits the part. He dresses like Bond, for God's sakes. So, all of these things happen over the years, but no real progress was ever made. So I got to thinking, like, why is that? Like, why wouldn't Idris Elba, of all people, not be casted to play James Bond? He's British. He's, a great actor. He works with today's, whole awakening as far as black actors and people of color in general. He checks every box, right? So interesting quotes came out from the interview. I want to read some of them real quick. The truth is, I was super complimented for a long time about this, Idris Elba said. Now he's talking about fans casting him or trying to get him casted as Bond. That's the context, okay? Back to the quote. I was like, this is crazy. James Bond? We're all actors and we understand the role. It's one of those coveted roles. Being asked to be James Bond was like, okay, you've sort of reached the pinnacle. That's one of those things the whole world has a vote in. So now he's saying, paying homage to, the fans for casting him as James Bond. I mean, it's the ultimate compliment as far as being an actor. There's a lot of great roles, you would like to be in. That is one of them. I mean, Batman, Superman, those kind of roles are hollowed roles. So then he goes into why, the fire kind of went out as far as him wanting to pursue this role. He goes, essentially, it was a huge compliment that every corner of the world, except from some corners, which we will not talk about, were really happy about the idea that I could be considered. Then he goes, those that weren't happy about the idea made the whole thing disgusting and off-putting because it became about race. It became about nonsense, and I got the brunt of it. So this is, recent interview as saying why. So before I go into what I think about it, let's go into, where this kind of came up in the first place. He had a Variety interview a few years back in 2019, and he said this: you just get disheartened when you get people from a generational, keyword generational point of view going, it can't be. And it really turns out to be the color of my skin. And then if I get it and it didn't work, or it did work, would it be because of the color of my skin? That's a difficult position to put myself into when I don't need to. So now you got the guy second guessing himself. Like, if it goes bad, I'm going to get shitted on. If it goes good, they're going to say, oh, it's because you're black. So he's like, listen, I can't win if I get this role, so why even bother? And that's sad. This is art we're talking about. Like, racist fucking people ruin everything. Even art. Like, you can't step outside of yourself and just watch a person, no matter the color of their skin, perform a part. It's sad. Like, we're still in this weird tribalism, this oppression when it comes to the world today. It's pretty fucking sick. So him saying this is just no surprise to me. And that's why I said that it's the old racist whites. Let's be real. It's the old racist whites. A lot of them live up in England as well. No different than the US. We're cousins of the UK. I mean, come on. We had a whole war to separate ourselves from them. To have that happen to him, and everybody loves Idris Elba. He's not very political. He doesn't go around and having, these controversial statements. He's pretty much standard, and he's a good guy. He's a fucking DJ, for God's sakes. And even he's like, man, I'd rather not even deal with it. I would love to play the role, but you guys ruined it to the point where I don't even want to consider it. And, that's a terrible thing because if Idris Elba played the part of James Bond, he would resurrect that character. Yeah, I know Daniel Craig is great and all that, but James Bond hasn't had that same feeling, not to me, and not to the people that I surround myself with. They don't pay attention to James Bond. You know, Idris Elba would check boxes that Daniel Craig and others like him couldn't check. And the fact that a production company, a big major movie studio couldn't put themselves or couldn't look past that is crazy to me. And it just tells you there's a lot of stuff going on still. And it's a lot of stuff that we collectively as a society still need to get through. And I'm glad that he spoke about it because, hey, we're still living in these crazy times where people still want to belittle you and, take you down a level because of the color of your goddamn skin.